shores of Southeast Asia, it is time for the Ed Namrock Podcast.
You know what? Actually, I could actually go back to using my old intro because now I have been finding on Anchor FM. Shout out to them because they are my sponsors. Thank you very much. And of course, the ad runs before the audio on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. My demographic in Australia is growing. It's scary. I remember discussing this with other people that are also fellow podcasters. So shout out to ages 7 through 14 in Australia. Thank you very much for tuning in. I know the culture there is different. Also, shout out to ages 16 through 20 in Sweden. It's not Sweden, it's Sweden. And I believe I have a pretty big college following in Nigeria, which is awesome because of the Ancestry DNA podcast I did. And they found out I'm 5 to 7% Cameroonian and Bantu. So that's pretty awesome. So Carter William Humphrey, God bless America. I love you. Thank you for tuning in. My mentor here, ladies and gentlemen, Carter William Humphrey. He is the creator of Post-it Notes. I'm kidding. Just kidding. Anyway, just a quick update on the Weeknd. Everyone knew what happened this past weekend on February 7th, besides the Super Bowl, of course. Your boy right here turned 40. I turned 40 on Sunday. Everything's working fine. I did vomit on Saturday. I was well taken care of. Pretty awesome weekend. It started Friday, had great company Friday, then continued Saturday, and then Sunday, a little bit of recovery, but me being the big jock that I am and also a big nerd at the same time, I was really looking forward to all this stuff. So, and Michael's already talking shit the weekend. Hey man, you got to X out the E, man. Come on, bro. Get with the program. He played a boring halftime show. Well, we're going to get into that, Mike. All right. We are going to get into that. Okay. And this is a guy named Dan, Nerd Jock. Yes, actually, that's exactly what they called me. So, Carter says, I wish, but yes, don't lie. You invented something. I don't know what it is, but again, thank you for all the birthday wishes. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my vomit, stomach to the smile on my face. Yeah, I it's overwhelming. Seriously. Who makes that, Carter? Good fucking question, because you would have done a better job, to be honest with you. Don't ask Carter about him working for Death Row, okay? Shh, that's a secret. Anyway, thank you again, and on the podcast again. And finally, I got the 4 of them on here from Therapy of the Absurd. If you haven't heard that podcast, tune in every Thursday. Every Thursday. I'm going to plug them here at as much as I can because I like that shameless promotion. But I want to welcome Dan Ochoa, Danna Kiel, Stephen Bowman, and finally, Stacy, I say Ines, because, my Spanish tongue, whatever. But thank you all for being on podcast, finally, all at once. So, thanks for being on.
I'm here. Late to the party.
Yeah. And again, shout out to all of you for doing what you guys have been doing for, 6 months now?
Has it been 6 months already?
You guys don't even know.
We don't know. We don't look at numbers, man.
What was it? Since
you're
the end of July.
4, 5,
the end of July to now.
right?
So we just did episode 26.
Yeah.
We actually have had 29 episodes, including a holiday specials, one that Ed's actually 1 or 2. I can't remember now. Ed, you've helped us on a few.
Well, I had a really bad bandwidth connection for the Thanksgiving one that I wanted to be a part of, and it was raining that day. And that's the day that I think Spectrum, which is my internet service provider, so suddenly said, "Oh, great, you're doing a podcast and somebody else? Cool. fuck with his internet real quick. Yeah, cool.
And you were in the car. You were in the car at
Come
Starbucks.
on, man.
You were in the
Yeah,
car
no,
at
I
Starbucks,
went to a Starbucks.
and we were
because
looking
I
at a
did
crackhead too.
Oh my god, yes.
What?
We didn't.
I'm
We
like,
didn't put that in the
it
show.
never
'cause
leaves
we
me.
were
That's not
like-
in
Never
the.
leaves me.
That's not
we
in
didn't put it in
the.
the show. We thought, we're like, should we add some wacky sound effects, like, like,
I'm
anything
just
he's
like,
really doing.
I was
You're like-
thinking like, okay, well, maybe, it's, typical, what was it, Saturday? No, but this is someone new that I've never seen there before, Stacy. It was like, I can't even explain the guy. He looked like a ninja, but
Pacing.
like,
Lots of pacing.
no, and it was a white dude, right? I'm not used to seeing. I hate
it
to
a
sound
hipster?
I hate to sound racist. I mean, but however you want to take it, Dan Ochoa.
Well, if he's a white,
Um,
a white dude dressed like a ninja is either bad news or a weeaboo. It's one or the other.
Aren't those the guys
You
that
know,
always
that's
sing
that's
woke?
basically it.
Like
Well-
Russell Brand.
Ooh,
This is not with you.
Russell
Go
Brand.
away.
I love it.
But Dana, I'll be honest with you. Whenever I see white dudes in my neighborhood around here, they're a little out of place. Like, hey man, what you doing here? And and then I'm like, okay, like I don't want to be that dude, but I am. But the whitest dude I know, that's the coolest dude I knew, Carter William Humphrey. He says white ninjas are a thing. Damn, I didn't even know that. So okay,
Like,
cool.
what's he doing here? It's not tax season. What's
Yeah,
going
well,
on?
I mean, Carter reps Altadena, so he knows what's up, man. I mean, he's been around the block, thrice over. But for me here in SGV, it's a little bit out of norm, and it's like, predominantly Asian here, a lot of Latino. We finally some brothers and sisters are moving in. I'm like, thank God, all right, some diversity here. But when you see the white dudes, you're just like,
You lost?
yeah. And Dana, I don't want to be that dude. I don't want to be that dude telling him, hey, where you from?
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, you're
What about
muted.
you, Dana?
Now, what about now?
There we go.
Probably
Yeah.
like gentrification happening. That's when you see
Yeah.
the white.
Yeah, I'm
No,
just
no,
like,
hey, there's some of
Yeah.
us that just like to hang out places. It was funny because the news.
There are.
When I
but
was
there's
growing
not a
up-
gentrification
No,
happening.
but when I was growing up, there was a long-haired dude that he got in the news every year. They're like, the one white guy in Compton. So why do you live here? Because you don't. I only ask this question every fucking year. Why do you
What?
come here? I like my neighbors.
oh
Huh.
Lord, man.
Once you
Dude,
see a
utterly
Bohemian,
racist for years.
once you see a bohemian white man in your neighborhood, your crime rate has dropped by 10%, and your real
Wow.
estate has gone up another 10.
Wait,
Okay.
That's the
Bohemian?
trick,
Did you
huh?
say
That's the
Bohemian?
trick.
Unfortunately, the way that I've seen my neighborhood, yes. All the gangbangers have gone to like
Yeah.
Fontana because Palmdale's full.
My wife said we do live in a 90% Asian community. Actually, yes, that's a pretty damn good ratio because there's the 10% that remaining that's all over the place. But I mean, nonetheless, stellar weekend. You guys already know. I mean, Steph's like, oh, I know a little bit about the football, and I'm like, okay, I will explain
I
the
found
sports ball
out
to
it
you.
was Super Bowl Sunday at 7 p.m.
You
on
gotta learn me,
Sunday.
man. I need to learn.
Like I was
I mean-
looking at, like I suddenly looked at Facebook going, oh crap, it's Ed's birthday and Super Bowl Sunday.
Yes. Happy birthday.
I
Happy
care about
belated-
one of those events.
Yeah,
Happy
Thank
birthday.
you.
Happy 4-0.
Aquarius.
I was really impressed with the amount of the amount of, I guess, restrictions that actually I wouldn't think would exist during a pandemic. But then again, I'm like, wait a minute, they're in Tampa Bay, Florida. So
Fun rules. Fun rules.
Yeah.
What is that?
Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus performed on a motorcycle with Billy Idol and Joan Jett.
Okay, that's
Alicia Keys, which is one of my favorite singers of all time. She sang America the Beautiful. They had what's his name sing the national anthem? I forgot his name. He's a country singer, and he collaborated with another
Oh,
girl.
Kid Rock.
Oh God, no.
Tim McGraw, Garth Brooks.
Not Garth Brooks. Garth Brooks, or who was it?
No, it was something Branch.
I
No,
don't
Garth
know.
did the
Michelle
inauguration.
Branch?
Mhm.
Tree Branch.
No, and I got a story about Michelle Branch. Don't let me forget about it.
Branch
but
manager.
I just know that DJ D Nice was spinning. That's all I know. I know DJ D Nice.
Yes, and that's kind of like it was cool, but then again, I'm like, Florida is probably a bigger melting pot than California. It's just I call Florida the shuffle button. Because then Florida man strikes, and then Florida woman strikes, and then 8-foot alligator is headlining at the Miami nightclub or whatever. And I'm just like, what the fuck? This is Florida? I'm like, okay. But nonetheless, what I was looking forward to, besides the commercials, of course, was the Weeknd's halftime performance. And I'm like, okay, I love the dude.
Wait,
Great
the
artist.
whole weekend? That's a long halftime. That is a long fucking halftime.
Get out, man. Get out.
He's a Canadian, right? He's from Canada. I don't know exactly from.
He's from Canada.
Canadian? I didn't know he was Canadian.
Yeah, he's Canadian. I think he's from
Canadian?
Toronto. I'm not
What are
sure.
we talking about?
The Weeknd is Canadian.
Oh, okay.
Wait, I thought the
I don't
weekend
know if
was
he's
born
from the
in
same
Greece.
area as Drake, but
I thought it was the Greeks that started the whole concept of the weekend.
Oh my.
but I'm gonna show you some
Is it up
videos
here?
because I don't want to show the whole clip, because then Mr. YouTube comes and gives you a strike and slaps you on the wrist.
Hey,
but
can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
What's up with this meme of him like stuck in a box or some shit, or this mirror maze? What's going on with that? I didn't watch any of it, obviously.
Okay,
Well,
so
let's watch it. Let's watch it. So let's
I'll
watch it. So you see.
You can show 15 seconds and then you're done.
Okay, you know what?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's over.
I more or less what I need to do is trim it out. That's what they do now.
Yeah.
But if you guys would like to see what went down,
Just a little.
I can show you. You guys down for
Just
that?
a taste. Just a taste.
Yeah, just face. Because I'm not necessarily much respect. I'm not a fan, and then I actually have been worried about him because of the face, like the weirdness that's going on with his.
Oh, he's got something going on with his.
Well, that was all a
Yeah.
show. That was
They said that was
he
the reason it led to this, right?
Oh.
Did you hear the theory?
Uh-uh.
So,
Is he-
No,
Does he think-
what was the theory behind
Is he
that?
coming back to normal?
okay, yeah, he's supposedly gone back to. Okay, so I was
Wait,
really
what did I miss? Someone's face changed?
It's my fault. Let's see the clip. Can we see the clip? And let me.
Yes.
let's
So,
slide back.
I can show you. I guess the NFL has it on there. So, I mean, shout out to the NFL. I mean, thank you for rejecting my job application 14 times, and I will play this just for you. So this is fuck it. I'm gonna do it.
That's only a
this
few
is
seconds.
the-
You shouldn't get messed with.
Yeah,
I don't care. I need to show everyone exactly what this whole thing was about. So this is exactly
National
what he did.
Football League welcomes you to the Pepsi Super Bowl 55 halftime show.
Now we will add commentary as we watch.
I love how they said, hey, we're gonna have a halftime show. Oh, can we have Coke do it? No, is Pepsi okay? Fine.
It was stated that he put $7 million of his own money to do this.
I love Pepsi, by the way.
He paid
Yeah.
the Super Bowl to do this.
Wow, that's crazy.
This is roughly around 14 minutes, but like let's kind of analyze this for a second because it's very interesting.
Oh,
Wait,
whoa,
by
that's
the
pretty crazy.
way, there was 25,000 people at Raymond. I think was it Raymond James Stadium in Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
The
The rest was just fill in for cardboard cutouts.
What?
Oh, by the way, yes, Eric Church was the one that sang the national anthem. There you go, country singer. All right, so let's keep watching.
I still think they're gonna. Florida's gonna change their slogan to the herd immunity state.
Oh, jeez. What the hell?
Yeah, it was.
That's trippy.
It wasn't your normal halftime show, but
Hey man, it's 2021. You got to shake it up.
No,
What the? Oh my gosh, this is gonna get all the right wingers going. Look at this cult shit they were doing at the Super Bowl to try to get the kids to go to Bohemian Grove and learn some cult mentality bullshit. What's with these red eyes and these guys in the cloaks and shit? You know that's gonna happen. That's gonna be like
that's crazy.
Glenn Beck
out.
bullshit.
This cost $7 million to do.
Well,
was
more.
what I
Because
heard.
it's
I don't know.
what he contributed.
That's crazy.
Wait, it did cost $7 million to
Well,
outfit the
apparently-
whole
What
team?
I heard from the person that was giving the theory as to why the Weeknd had done that stuff to his face for the videos to lead to this. Like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna give you the ending of the show, but he didn't have they didn't have the budget that he wanted, and he had this whole vision for his head. So supposedly $7 million, the Weeknd or his team or whoever organized the show paid $7 million to set it up, and then it was a majority of his own money in order to get this to live. Now, the one thing that I'm still confused about was if this was the same stadium where the game was, because I heard that the reason it wasn't, and again, not sure how accurate it was because they didn't have enough manpower to remove all this entire stage before the game. Yeah. Because COVID restrictions cut staff personnel significantly. So from what I'm understanding, this was done in
No
a
way.
different stadium because they were worried they weren't going to not have enough manpower to remove everything. Like, if you realize, I think how many people are in the choir that he has on there, the orchestra.
I'm gonna give this brilliance points. It's brilliant.
Holy hell!
It's
I never
brilliant.
even
I mean,
saw
why
that,
not during the
Stacey,
COVID
you know that?
Super Bowl? During the
No,
COVID
yeah,
Super Bowl,
I mean-
TikTok.
why not?
And
But
not
then
only
again,
that,
I'm like, maybe because it's Florida. I'm like, okay, they basically don't believe in coronavirus, so it's cool.
yeah, whoever the next person is for the next Super Bowl, they got to try to top this, dude. Good luck.
Wow.
I didn't enjoy
That's
it
crazy.
as much as I enjoyed
Jeez.
J-Lo and Shakira. I'm not gonna
Well,
lie.
that's probably one of my favorite performances. But then Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake was too, and you guys know how that ended.
No, that was
Right.
beautiful. That was talked about for years by comedians. I think it was great.
Yeah.
Louis Black did a great bit on it. Yeah, beautiful.
All right, let's continue on.
I
Rio.
also I gotta say I think it's kind of strange that Florida doesn't believe in COVID, but they believe in Swamp Thing.
Oh, jeez.
By the way, Dana,
Yes.
The Weeknd looks like he just stole what's his name's outfit. God, I was choking
Richard
his
Pryor?
name.
No, that
Richard
looks like
Pryor, Richard
Ricky
Pryor's
Bobo's
outfit.
quote,
Oh,
though.
Oh, Live on Sunset?
Look at this.
Live
He
on
looks
Sunday.
like he just stole it.
The coat's pretty retro though, right?
Look at that.
He's got shoulder pads on that coat. Do we still do that?
Yeah,
He's
that's
Someone
got
tell
normal.
me. I don't
fucking
own a
shoulder
fucking coat with
pads,
shoulder
bro.
pads. Does anyone still do this?
That's normal. That's normal.
All right, so this goes on.
I mean, it's a
for
football
about-
game. He needs shoulder
Right.
pads.
Right.
He might
This
be
goes
taken
on
out.
for a bit, right? He's just in front of the camera. I'll scrub through here, and then here's where it gets interesting. I wanted to show this to you. This is where all the
Okay,
memes
so
are
here's the
from,
maze,
Dan.
right? This is where that
Yeah.
meme is. All right, got it.
By the
Wow.
way, if you look at that, that's me in Las Vegas in 2009.
Yeah, nobody's
okay, so
nobody's
this-
gonna top this,
I'm-
dude.
I'm gonna have to
There's
look up.
17 beers and 4 shots of Jaeger. Look at
No,
that.
I gotta look up more of this guy's work because this is
That's
like
crazy.
I'm not usually into flashy things, but this is more than just flashy. This is, hey, I thought a whole bunch of shit that's gonna blow your mind throughout the whole thing. Very, very artistic.
Oh
You
no,
gotta
yeah.
give it up to this guy. Like,
No, this
it's
is-
not just look at all the lights I have. Look at all the
There's
people I
something-
have.
yeah.
Like, you're not gonna see any of this coming.
Just watch him get tackled. That's the one thing that threw me off. I guess he was just like hit.
Wait, he gets tackled? Did you just
He
Yeah.
gets
spoiler
like
me?
okay. I'm gonna-
Keep watching. It gets pretty
It's okay,
interesting.
Stacey. You're fine to spoil. It's fine.
I was like, well, don't spoil it anymore because I probably will take a little time with it. Don't spoil it anymore.
That's crazy.
It gets pretty interesting.
Power to him, man. This is gonna make sure he gets paid more money.
And then the guys from Slipknot come out.
No, those are just the guys in the back that bang the extra trash
Wow.
cans.
Wait,
Wow.
let me Dana, are you familiar with this song?
Yes, know the song. I've heard it. Like, yeah. But this is
No,
because this is probably the most
You know
popular song
what
he
the
has.
song's about, right?
Nope, no, that I don't know.
It's a song about doing cocaine.
Oh, with Slipknot?
I can't feel my face when I'm with you.
I'm with you. Okay, got
But
it.
I love it.
Okay.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
I thought it was
this-
about domestic abuse, but then I was like, oh, okay. Like, that's
Yeah, like-
much better.
So
the
there's
years
this-
of the use of cocaine.
well, have you ever heard the Green Day theory?
What's the Green Day theory?
Well, like a lot of Green Day, like there's this theory, and I don't know if it's all rumors and stuff, but apparently someone in Green Day, maybe the lead singer Billy, what's his face, Joe, has some issues with drugs. And if you start listening to their lyrics with that in mind, you start to notice a lot of their hits are very interesting, like Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Longview. Like you actually read the lyrics, a lot of them are the thoughts tweakers have at 4 a.m. So with that knowledge, go back and listen to Green Day. Go back and listen to Green Day. And it's like there's got to be some perspective going on. It's all the way to Boulevard of Broken Dreams. My Shadow, like just
Was
anyway.
Billy Joe Armstrong that intelligent and that poetic? Maybe.
It's
don't know,
weird,
but-
but that's a lot of tweaker talk for years in a row. I mean, it's awesome.
It is.
Though. Yeah.
Years of abuse.
That's crazy, dude. Wow.
It kind of ends like right here. One of the guys grabs it. Okay, cool.
Wait,
And
someone grabbed the
then-
camera,
Yeah, like one of the
found footage,
Yeah,
shit, and all, huh?
and then there's a ton of pyrotechnics after this, which is such a Florida thing to do. See,
That's how you keep the gators from showing up.
You know what? Your wife made such a great observation. The fact that you could hide the face mask under all those bandages so easily. Like that's how we have to do in pandemics. Just make it look like they're all
Yes.
getting plastic surgery.
Yes.
We'll just put your N95 under it.
yes, and he had Dana. If you're not familiar with what he did, maybe about a month and a half ago. I don't know how long, Stacy. Maybe you can correct me on this, but he had makeup and effects done on his face, like he had work done. And
Right. So
before
that's
that, he
that's why my
bandages.
first question. That's why my first question
Yeah.
was: is his face fixed? Because when I saw that, whenever that story went viral, I was like, "What is going on? Why does he look
Yeah.
like a refined version of the Elephant Man?" Bless his heart. Like,
Right.
Wait. Does the
Which is
Weeknd
a
normally
version.
like got a face that's like very distinctive from its struggles?
Do you remember the tiger lady?
Nice way to say it.
Dan? That
What?
Do you remember the tiger lady, that rich lady that completely transformed her face to accommodate to her really rich husband to look like a tiger? Like she had
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, like she had really bad plastic surgery.
Right.
Like her cheeks were full of filler. Her chin
Right, it
was
was horrible.
extended.
Whoa,
looked-
that
he
okay.
looked like that. That's how he looked down. Like I thought you would have figured out who Tiger Lady was, but apparently not.
No, I don't
That
know who
is
Tiger Lady is.
bizarre.
I know who Lion Lady is, but she
Oh,
just
boy.
works for tips.
All right, I'm gonna keep scrubbing through this because I know Mr. Yuki is gonna get mad. But let me get to
What is
Yeah.
he got? I don't know why we're talking about
Here.
faces still. You're all talking about faces, and I'm like, wait. So this guy had a that kind of face, is what you're saying, Stacy? He had that
Yes.
kind of
yeah, and he made it look
like
like.
almost like those
Have you
Russian
seen the
twins that
picture?
look like Ken dolls.
Yeah, you'd have to.
Have you
see it.
seen the picture?
It was
No, I don't know much about the Weeknd. I've heard his name over and over again.
Oh, yeah, I've heard the
I haven't
name
had any
a
time
lot.
to like get into his stuff, and then like he's doing the Super Bowl. I go, this guy must be way bigger than I thought. I've never like checked any of his stuff out, or I'm just oblivious. That's probably the right answer.
Well, he grew traction pretty quickly, and then I think maybe even before he collaborated with Daft Punk, he was already like a top 40 artist.
Huh.
But that single collaboration with Daft Punk just boom sent him
Yep.
to the
Oh,
top of
yeah.
the charts.
There's a lot of
And,
music that sneaks up on me. like that.
And the WWE keeps playing that song during their promos for pay-per-views and whatnot. So he's bankrolling right now.
He's getting that paper.
I ain't mad, but
Oh, no.
Loan me some money, man. Like, give me 1% what you make. That's all I'm asking for, man.
Get it while you can.
I mean, give me Can you give me $500 a month, man? That's all I need, man. Like, come on.
You're Canadian. You're generous.
He has
Come on, don't be mad, So,
it kind of can't feel my face. I'm looking at pictures now.
So, Dana, I just ended with like, this is what I think Stacy meant. Like, see all these people here, and I'll scrub through it just so Mr. YouTube won't get mad.
Huh.
And they're on the field. See, there's a bunch of them,
right?
And I'm pretty sure that theory that Stacy's mentioning might just be true because look at all these people.
I like his style. Like he's like, they're like, they have to wear face masks for COVID restrictions. He goes, I want a full GIMP mask. Go for it. Make it white. Put the ball in their mouth. I don't care if anyone sees it. It's below the mask. Put that ball in their mouth.
Oh my Lord.
So yeah, this is kind of how it ended. And of course, Florida Pyrotechnics. Okay, whatever.
And then Pepsi.
Wait, Jennifer had the same thought. She said it looks like a jockstrap, so it kind of ball in the mouth.
Yeah, but that was not the star of the show.
Was it?
No.
All that money, and that's it.
Yeah, it was this guy, and I'm gonna pull him up real quick so you guys could know exactly what is it and how he did it. And the networks obviously did a very good job of panning out and not showing him. But after reading the story, this gentleman is a fucking genius. And I'll say that blatantly because he is. And damn it, he is close to half a millionaire because of that reason. And shout out to this guy. Let me put him on the screen real quick. His name is... It's Yudi.
Right.
Let me see what his name is. Yudi. I can't even scroll on this thing. What is it?
The question is, was he hung? That's all I care about.
No, what he wound up doing was
I don't know why I care. I'm just a caring person.
Okay, so here's how betting works. So you place a bet on a game. You win, you lose, right?
Yeah.
However, there are things called prop bets. You guys know what prop bets are?
That's where you bet whether or not Carrot Top forgot his trunk.
Yes, you got the right idea. Who's performing the national anthem? Danna Kiel. Okay, how long is Danna Kiel going to go for? Under a minute or over a minute?
Mm-hmm.
There's an under bet and there's an over bet. Okay, cool. Who's going to be the guest coin flipper? Oh, it's Stacy Ines. Okay, cool. Is it going to be heads? Is it going to be tails? Like that, right? Those are prop bets. This man here, genius. He placed, I believe, a $50,000 bet. His name's Yuri Andrade. Okay, he bet. I don't know the odds, but he bet on someone actually streaking at the Super Bowl.
He's not even streaking. I'm pissed
during these COVID restrictions. Yeah. So, but here's the thing: it was so tight of restrict, like no one could get in. As a matter of fact, I think only 10,000 frontline workers were offered free tickets to actually attend the Super Bowl. The rest was just filled with whoever was fortunate enough to make it. Maybe he was one of them. Whatever. But here's how odds work. So, for example, this website called Bovada, they offered a plus 750 odds. So you have to bet $100 to win 750. This man threw down, I think, $50,000.
That someone would
came away with $375K. It cost him $1,000 to get out of jail.
I'm still disappointed. I've seen headlines on this saying there was a streaker at the Super Bowl. He's not streaking. I have a higher standard for streakers than this shit.
Yeah, what is this, man?
Okay,
his card is revoked. His card is revoked.
I love it. He fearlessly with those woman hips and that pink, like fearlessly. So he definitely met my standard of streaking.
No. We have to give this man props because being naked means being free, nothing causing any compression or restriction to your body. This man had a bodysuit that was going up his crotch so hard and his ass crack that I have to give it up to him because that is a massive wedgie right there. I would have died.
But look, that's the case of a man that knew he just won $375,000.
But are the shorts on it?
Like Ed, what did you say? I didn't hear.
I mean, look at that face. That's the face of a man that knew he just won $375,000 over a $1,000 bail. Look at that.
I have much respect. You guys don't like whenever anybody on here is trying to send kids to college, trust me, like I'm sure he doesn't have any children, but if I had that, if I could have gotten away with wearing that and won 375, I'd like show me the outfit, point me in the direction.
I'd do it. I'd do it.
Yeah, I do it all.
Get me all of that right there. Get me that whole outfit. I'm doing it. If I thought for 1 second there would be any way to get away with it, and if I had the money to put down to get that, oh my god.
Oh my god, I'd have my kids film it. Like this is how Daddy got an addition to the house.
But okay, what wasn't the word on that little jumpsuit an adult website though?
I think it was Vitaly Uncensored. So if I zoom in closely, that's what it said. And I saw the tweet saying, "Oh, whoever said it, it was like, oh, we did it." And there was. My wife actually noticed that. Yeah, there was a great fucking ass shot from the back, and you just see the line going up his.
Judging by the front, was it really great?
I don't know.
He gets my respect.
I can appreciate a decent man ass once in a while, but like. Not like this one. This guy looks like, I don't know, he looks like Florida man.
He does look like
Florida man.
It is the hot pink. It reminds me of Miami Vice, #1 show.
I'm gonna find an interview. I'm curious as to I want to hear the story of how he was able to get into the stadium. I want to hear how he did it.
Well, it says right here, he called up everyone he knew and he had them bet on someone storming the field. Then he got tickets to the game and recruited a buddy to serve as a decoy. Andrade said once security was distracted by his pal, he ran onto the field and the rest is history. And he was arrested and booked for trespassing. And,
wait 1 second. Did was he able to inflate the price of the bet by getting others to bet the same way like the GameStop shit, right? Like, did he really get others to inflate the odds because they were betting?
Yes.
Oh, that's fun. Oh man,
fucking genius, dude. That's some genius shit right there.
As a matter of fact, day trading works very similar to sportsbook gambling. Because lines move when they say lines move, that's the equivalent of a share price either dropping or gaining. So like when I got into just regular basic stock market investments, and I'm like, oh okay, I don't have to lose my money like in one day. Cool, this is awesome. So you get to hold on to it for a little bit longer. But this is straight up like if he lost that bet, like if he would have never made it onto the field, he was down $50,000.
Wow.
You better get on that field.
Yeah. I don't know what he does for a living to blow that kind of money, but it seems to me like he's
he planned it, bro. That was some premeditated planning there.
Yeah, he figured it out because at the end of the day, if you know how to turn 50,000 into 375,000 and you just have to deliver. Like again, much respect.
I'm more curious to find out why he's in the inmate clothing because he was only there for a few hours. Was like the jumpsuit so tied up? Was the wedgie so bad that he was screaming, "Officer, please take this off right now"?
No, the officers couldn't take it. The officers.
It says here, Stacy, that the worst part was he couldn't pick the wedgie that was up his ass while in custody because he was in handcuffs, so he's clearly over that now.
Wow. So here's the thing that's but here's the thing that makes me I'm interested in like how humans work. Okay, Because if this guy didn't make this money, we would say, what a fucking idiot. But because he's making the money, we're like, oh, well, maybe the guy had a thing going on.
Well,
I mean, speak for yourself and your friends. I'm not mad. One will never know. In love, we'll never know. Two, I can only say that again. I respect it all. Like, I feel like if he hadn't done it, I couldn't.
Man.
Yeah, like if there was any way that I had literally the kahunas to take 50,000 wherever I could get it and make this work, if I fail, I fail. But man, if I thought seriously I could make it go for it, like even if I could double my money, I would do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, totally.
I'm totally digging the dude. Like, not in that way. He's 31, not my type at all.
But the big question is if it's even legal to make a bet and then personally interfere with the game to get the desired results.
Hey, if
right.
you look at the rule against it,
that's not illegal. I don't think it is.
If there's no fine print saying that's not an option, then technically it's still legally,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a problem.
Right.
There has to be fine print saying, well, you personally can't
Make
go
it happen.
ahead and do. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure this is going to cause things to change in the future. Like, hey, we're gonna bet on the next trigger, but it can't be you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
yeah.
This is supposed to be America. We're supposed to be able to do the same fine print shit the rich people do and get the same shit from it, motherfuckers. That's how it's supposed to work.
Hence what we you guys also discussed previously in another episode of Therapy of the Absurd, of course, with the stock market. It's like when we do it. Oh no, not like that. No.
Right.
Okay, now touche, motherfucker. Like, this is how we're doing it, and now you're mad because you want regulation. Okay, cool.
The Carlinist in me loves watching the system get fucked back.
Right.
I mean, I just love it. It's something like I don't understand it because I'm not the smart or quick or hardworking human, but I love watching it. Love watching it.
Sad story. And I definitely don't want to be a downer, so I'll try to get in and get out. But very sad story. Did you guys see the story on Robinhood about the kid who, went in, started trading options, and they told him he had a negative bill of $730,000, and he could not. Yeah, and it happened last year. This child, bless his heart, was home from COVID. Like, I saw it today. Like, when I saw the Robinhood headline, I thought it was going to be some more of the GameStop, but it is this tragic story. And I say tragic because it ended in a tragedy. This kid was home from college, took his savings, started trading options. And Robinhood okayed him with apparently you can either mark that you have no experience or you can mark that you have a little experience, and they approved him to trade options. They tell him that he's in the red for a negative $730,000. He doesn't know all that means. And I wish I was kidding. And bless his heart, he killed himself.
Oh,
He went on to try to get help. He went on he couldn't get help desk. He couldn't get chat. He couldn't get anybody to answer his question about, how he was supposed to pay this or how this was really supposed to work and all this kind of stuff. And he got no answers, no chat. And they showed all of the help desk. He sent this email, "We'll be back with you." But unfortunately he didn't wait, and of course, as the horror of it would be, the next day, oh, you don't owe any. I mean, there's more detail, but basically he didn't owe anything. And it was, he had no idea, and he thought that he was doing a good thing. But interestingly enough, in Massachusetts, even the I guess whatever the regulating board in the state is also filing, the family is filing a lawsuit. And then the state has filed complaints because they feel like, you guys don't make anyone available. You don't make anyone available for help. No one can get live help. That's all changed now, but you can't get live help.
Wow.
And
That's crazy.
Your regulations and your criteria to allow people to trade options in particular because they're high risk instruments are too low. And they've since changed everything, and they're not speaking, but the family is suing. It's just
that's
horrific.
crazy, dude.
So,
I found the headline.
He thought he had lost a lot of money. And then he gets notice, like he would have got a notice the next day saying, actually, he didn't. That was a mistake.
Mm-hmm. It was whatever.
Stefan, this reminds me of the ending of The Mist with Thomas Jane.
Yes. Oh Lord, that's such a tragic ending, man.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't, I just, I
wait,
felt,
Stacey, did you hear about this though?
Yeah, so they got fined I know it was multi-million, a couple multi-million. They got fined. So it's a fine. It's not a lawsuit, it's a fine.
no, the family is,
but,
no, I'm saying the family is suing. The family is suing. I'm not
no,
talking.
no. So but this happened months ago. This happened
Right,
last
it happened a year ago.
Yeah.
It happened a year ago.
So they got fined for it, which caused them to change their policy in reference to that. It's not until now that they're officially suing. So the reality is what's going to happen to Robinhood, they're not only getting sued by this family, they're getting sued by a bunch of others who lost a majority of the money, their savings, because of what happened with Wall Street bets.
But rightfully, because if you look at it, both these are showing that their business model didn't give a fuck about the customer and wanted just to milk them for being someone that gave them an avenue to something they thought they didn't have before, when there actually are other services. Apparently, I don't know, I don't trade, but I've heard that you don't have to use Robinhood. There's other ones you could trade with.
I have Acorns. I have Acorns on my phone as well as Robinhood. I haven't really messed. I think Acorns has been more friendly. Like I just did Robinhood because I was somewhere and somebody suggested it, but it just felt so tragic. Like I'm, but just in terms of, the Robinhood is not, doesn't want to really be accountable.
He just wants to be a part of it.
He doesn't.
But here's what I understand from the Robinhood app and then the platform in general, because I got suckered into creating an account. Is they're very appealing to young minds because it looks kind of video game-ish.
That's gamification. That was another side. That was what was highlighted.
You know what? I honestly joined Robinhood because it looks so simple. So I've always said this, like I've always wanted to get into stocks, shares. I always wanted to get a better understanding since I was, several years now. But I can never really understand it. It was always so complex for me to actually comprehend.
Right.
And so when I joined Robinhood, it was simple. It wasn't E-Trade where you have all these charts and graphs and things were just constantly. There was a lot of data and info that just felt really overwhelming for me. It was like, I don't get this. And I feel like I'm in over my head. Then Robinhood's app just made it so simple. Like, oh, okay, I'll just buy this share and this. It was just the simplicity that it attracted to me. But now my concern is, and I still have Robinhood. Of course, a lot of people are switching over to other competitors. And a lot of them said that they've been trying to get a hold of Fidelity to try to move their shares there. Robinhood is charging $75 to do that. But my biggest concern is what's going to stop those other competitors from doing the exact same thing Robinhood did? What point can't they not restrict buying? Because that's everyone restricted their buying of shares for GME, AMC, and Nokia at some point altogether. So
I got my order actually canceled the day before they suspended all action basically with those particular volatile stocks as they were referring it to. And I bailed, I cashed out, cool. And I went to Webull, but Webull was doing the same thing. And I'm like, okay, so there's really no where to go. I'm like, okay, but these hedge fund people, these companies, I'm like, they're just doing the same thing. And I'm like, oh, I see how this works. I'm like, okay. Now that's what I believe. Not only has the revolution started on the ground, but people are getting smarter now and going, okay, now we can virtually take this motherfucker over. But there's, like, for example, I don't know if you heard, but this weekend, someone hacked into the water system in Florida near the Super Bowl and tried to poison it.
Whoa, that's crazy.
Yes, they try to poison the water supply.
Super Florida,
now
man.
we know there's not only class warfare that's going on, but there's a virtual warfare that has been around for a while, but now people are like, okay, enough's enough. Even that, what they call them, white hats, in the hacker world. White hats are saying, this sucks. We're turning into gray hats, and eventually they turn into black hats. And black hats are the ones that run the dark web. Dan knows this stuff, man. They're basically the guys selling dope in Skid Row too.
Yeah, white, gray, and black is a reference to the knowledge of the system.
Yes,
it's probably racist in origin. So, but
it probably is. That's what I was looking into. But the binary code that I learned about too, the ones and zeros, kind of explained a lot too. But then again, I'm just like, why can't you say good people and bad people? But
sorry, I've been drinking, so it seems like an inverse here, right? Because so in software testing, a black box tester is someone who can't look in the box. They don't look at the code at all. They don't.
Are you
they just
fucking
use
serious?
it. They just use it.
Wow.
A gray box tester kind of looks at the code. That's what I do. And a white box tester totally looks at the code and says, "Nah, this." I'm looking at your code, and those guys don't really exist. They exist in books that they sell to managers. Stop buying those books. Because those guys become devs. They don't become testers. A white box tester becomes a dev. Okay. So,
I'm lost.
It sounds like this is the different thing though. This is a different thing. This is, they went the other way. They're like, oh, well, you're hey, Tim. How's it going, man?
Yeah, he always imagined Spy versus Spy comics. That's a very accurate depiction, man, because it's Spy versus Spy. That's exactly
that was
what
as black
is.
and white as you could get.
But you know what's crazy? The fact that you mentioned that they were trying to poison the water in Florida. Currently, I'm not sure. Did you guys hear about the whistleblower in Florida right now? So they had, I can't remember her position exactly, but she was responsible for reporting the active COVID numbers in the state of Florida on their website and to Johns Hopkins and other sources. So they were the ones that were supposed to report the actual number of people that had COVID, how many hospitalizations, ICU capacity. She realized that at some point the numbers were being manipulated. So she was charting and she was collecting the data because her live numbers compared to the numbers that Florida was reporting. And again, I'm going to say this allegedly because I don't know how accurate this is currently going in court.
Wow.
She was fired when she realized that the numbers were being manipulated, but she took it upon herself to warn the people of Florida and continued reporting the numbers on her social media that represented accurate numbers of what was going on, which of course were much higher than what Florida was reporting, because had numbers been higher in Florida, guess what closes down? Everything. Restrictions, outdoor dining. So what the governor of Florida did was, she's I think she's in her 30s or 40s, but she had young children. Because she was reporting the numbers live, he sent an entire SWAT team over to raid her house immediately, drew guns to her and her children. Luckily,
I've seen the video.
cameras.
I think it was Rebecca Jones. There you go.
That is correct,
that's Florida. They even had those hovercraft and shit. The cops with the hovercraft.
They even had an alligator. They had an alligator?
Was it police alligator? Is that?
Yeah, police alligator. You refer to him as Sir, not Mr. Chomp.
But then they tried to charge her over something else because they didn't have enough information to charge her for what they were looking for, which again, there's not enough information. So right now it's currently a whistleblower lawsuit. If you guys just put whistleblower and Florida,
I just put it in. I mean, the good news is I have to show respect for the judge in the case. The judge in the case, they wanted to deny her any internet access after releasing her, and they wanted to give her put her with a bracelet. The judge refused those things. Right now, she's being charged with felony felony something, take whatever, and
like
it's
a computer charge or something.
Yeah,
like
computer
that.
charge. So she's only facing 5 years and a $5,000 fine. And we know, without getting into the issues of justice in America, we all know how much prison time a white woman in America at 31.
I get a year.
Yes,
here's the thing.
How long did Lori Loughlin do? Like 2 days?
Right, and Riley Wilson stole Nancy Pelosi's computer, said she was going to send it to Russia 4 days. 4 days. Said she was sending it to Russia. Doesn't know where it is. 22 at home with her mother. At home with her mother. That's it. And then on house arrest. So, anyways, but here's the thing. In this case, unlike Riley Wilson, Rebecca would be my hero. Unlike Riley Wilson, but I much respect and Godspeed to her for trying to do what's right.
The right thing. Yeah.
Well, this is the thing that's really concerning. White women, there's privilege there until that white woman is going against a white man. If it's going against a white man, you are fighting. Come on, remember, women were burned at the stake because men were declaring them witches.
No doubt, girl. We got the history lesson, but again, they've released her. They've not denied her internet, and they didn't fit her with a bracelet. So, as far as I'm concerned, I hear you're exactly right. No argument about the history. I'm just looking at what happened, and again, I'm looking at Riley Wilson. I'm looking at these folks, and while it's truth, it's not me trying to cast dispersion. As far as I'm concerned, we're all sisters. I get it. But I just think it's interesting that, bless her heart, she's, they're not, even the judge is not really trying to take her down like that. You know what I'm saying? I respect, all I'm saying is I respect that.
I really hope that there's justice in reference to that, because there's so much corruption.
They just dismissed the lawsuit, Stacy, and I'm looking at the update here. This is about 10 hours ago.
Oh, wow.
She dropped the lawsuit against the state for now.
Whoa, really?
Because you can't do a criminal case and a civil case at the same time. The criminal case has to go first. It's better to dismiss it. So you can start over with the facts as they exist at the time of refiling, which I think I hate to go down rabbit holes, but they probably threatened her with her life because they raided her house with her family in there, Dana.
Right. That's it's tough stuff, but I love it. But she's still fighting. She says this is wrong. It's time to speak up before another 17,000 people are dead. This is wrong. You don't have to be part of the hero. Speak out before it's too late. I mean, and even in the face of all of that, again, much respect to her. And again, like I said, a judge. I just love the fact that they did not, because they wanted to deny her any internet access. And
exactly, yeah.
It's not just China where this shit happens.
Say that again.
Speaking of fighting, fighting, continuing to fight because shit's going awry. I'm going to show you a video.
Okay.
Pretty fucking sad, and I'll give you context. Yes.
Take them away.
I know maybe Stacy knows about it and Dana has some sort of context on it, but let me play it.
Producer, not now, Stacy.
I just want to say something real quick. I bet the stuff that's going on in Florida with the numbers being faked, I bet you that's why Texas is open.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, this stuff, this whole thing doesn't just happen in other countries. It's funny, we talk about maybe in Japan they have certain things about their suicide rate versus their homicide rate that are a little iffy. Well, you look at America, you'll find some iffy shit too. I mean, it's authority. That's what they do. Eventually they lie for convenience. I'm sorry to break it to you. This is the disillusionment over.
Let's not kid ourselves. The reality is, if you're impacting the pocket of a corporation or a rich white man, there will be action against lower class, middle class individuals.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
Like Robin Hood selling the shares of these people without their authorization.
Correct.
So the reality is, there's things that are completely out of our control, that are completely unfair. And unless we say something about it and we bring it out to the public, then it's just going to keep happening.
Public enemy fight the power, man.
But I'm glad that it exposes that it actually is rigged. I'm not one of those guys that I'm pretty cynical, but I don't believe every system is completely rigged. I don't believe our democracy is completely rigged. But just the money system, that shit's fucking rigged.
Of course,
that stuff is made look, if you look at what happened in the 50s and the 60s, as women started working as well, they started bringing more income to the family. The family made more money. You know what happened with that? People didn't have to work as much. The wife and the husband didn't have to work as many hours to keep their house, to keep their stuff. They started doing things like tennis and golfing and vacations, and enjoying their life outside of work. And then eventually business went Yeah, but we need you to work more hours. So all your housing and food shit's going to go up now because we own most of the companies.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, people are like, well, price fixing is legal. Yeah, not if it's, not on paper. Like, and that's the whole game. The whole game is to keep you busy so that like upward mobility is made hard on purpose because if everybody moves up, there's less for them. So
absolutely.
There is a rig in the financial system to keep the classes where they're at as long as they can. It's just they can't totally blatantly do it like they used to in feudalism.
Right. But
anyways,
speaking of being blatantly I don't know. This is not a rig. I don't know what happened here, but I'm going to show you this video. And then I'll give the viewers and listeners context. I'm sure my buddies in Australia are going to flip over this, but let me just play this. And then if you've seen it or heard it, give me your thoughts on this and then we'll get into it. Here we go.
No, my hair has been like this for about a month now. It's not by choice. No, it's not by choice. When I do my hair, I like to, finish it off with the little Got to Be glue spray, just to keep it in place. Well, I didn't have any more Got to Be glue spray, so I used this. Gorilla glue spray.
Lord.
Bad idea. Yo, look. It is. My hair, it don't move. You hear what I'm telling you? It don't move. I wash my hair 15 times. And it don't move. Stiff wear. Woo! My hair. So I'm going to tell y'all like this. If you ever run out of Got to Be glue spray, don't ever use this unless you want your hair to be like that.
Wow, man. How the fuck does that happen though, man?
Because bless her heart, like so many women who want their hair to be straight or laid down, and that would be the masses of Black women in America, even though
right.
Because we still
like industrial stuff, though.
But if you don't, like, here's the thing, I'm not saying she's right or wrong, and I'm certainly not here to judge her because everybody has stepped in a ton of mud. I know, I hear you. I'm not here. I'm not here for that. I'm just saying. Like I kind of went through everything and I absolutely get it. It's just like if any of us can think of the worst, most ridiculous decision we've ever made in a split second, then that's what that is. This was somebody apparently she run out and I guess she was headed somewhere and saw this Gorilla Glue and for whatever reason in that moment thought it was a good idea. I'm not saying she's right, dumb, or stupid. None of that. That's none of my business. But I just think that she put herself in a bad situation. She's actually not
stupid. Why would you do that?
She's actually not suing though, like that was said earlier. She's not suing.
No, she has a GoFundMe instead.
She got a GoFundMe, which
right.
Fuck, man, I feel bad.
But the GoFundMe makes absolute sense. And it's actually like it's an interesting piece because she made this bad decision. She didn't, at all think about the potential outcome. She went to the hospital to try to get the stuff out. The most recent report within the last 20 minutes is that her hair has actually started to loosen. But Dr. Obeng, who is a known Beverly Hills plastic surgeon, who, if everybody's ever heard of the O-band for gastric bypass, Dr. Obeng and
O-band, yeah,
he actually created that. But he's a well-known plastic surgeon here, so he's going to be helping her. And the $16,000 that they've already raised is for wigs because unfortunately there will be hair loss. There will be, irreparable damage once they're able to take care of it.
But so fucked up.
I think it's tragic. I think it's horrific. I think it's, in my mind, I can't say that I would have done it at all. Gorilla Glue would not have been an option, not even on a straight hair day, but for whatever reason.
You would have read the can. You would have read the whole fucking can.
And I say this in love. It's not likely I'm thinking of stupid stuff I've done, but I'm just trying to think in that case, if nothing indicates it's for my hair, the only thought I had, like I was saying to you guys earlier, and I don't know what was going through her head and everything that's being said. I'm not hearing her say that she was trying to get to an event and she had to be there and she was trying to get her hair. I'm still trying to get to that part. What on a dime to put you in a position to not run to the beauty supply and just restock. Like I thought maybe she went to the beauty supply and they were out. No, it's like everybody's saying she saw this in the house and grabbed it and did this thing. And like I said, there is a product for laying down edges, and everybody knows what that means, right? Laying down edges. Is everybody?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I do now. I mean, after someone mansplained it to me, so it's cool.
right. So I mean, and I'm not afraid. So like mine is curly and whatever. So for me to get what she's got, if I took some Gorilla Snot, I could lay this down without perming it, because that was because 20 years before, people would actually go back and perm just the edges. Like there's so many, the desire for a straight look that will hold for all of this period, like I cannot, is extremely high amongst Black women. Phoebe Snow, one of my favorite singers, jazz singer, she used her in one of her songs, she says, "Can the thirsty stay sane?" Whenever you are desperate for anything, that's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just a mix of so it is extremely tragic. You know, I'm not judging her. I just, bless her heart. I wish that there was, as Dan said, like I'm more likely to read. I wish that wisdom was there for her. I'm trying to understand the desperation to grab what is clearly not a hair product and make a second bad decision. Well,
it reminds me of the time. I mean, it's not as tragic as this, but my kid brother had a really bad cystic pimple on his cheek, and I've dealt with that during my youth. So I told him, I go, just get some toothpaste and just put it on there. But I'm like, just be sure you clean it off. Well, the guy fell asleep with it on, so it burned his whole cheek. Because the fluoride is burning your skin. So he woke up like with, it looked like an eraser burn, like when people will just do that as kids, or some type of like a rubber burn or whatnot.
Yeah.
But that took some time to heal, and he developed a scar. Now, what with this thing with Tessica, she obviously, I'm reading this, she worked on her hair for 4 hours.
Right.
And that's usually around the time, I know, especially, sister girls all over LA, they take about 4 or 5 hours. It's an art form. But fuck, man, at what point did she not realize? Like,
well, she actually she said within days she really knew something was wrong, because she puts different types of oil on her hair. Like she mentioned, having like within days, whatever, tea tree and these different things, and she noticed that nothing that she put on her hair was having the effect that it would normally have. Because if you put tea tree or castor, whatever, I just remember tea tree in the list of things, and nothing was moving. So she was probably, worried in the beginning, but then after a while, it just became a thing. My frustration and concern is the desperation for like the straightness, drove you to Gorilla. Like that's like but here's
the whole thing. Like, if the desperation for a guy to like get laid ends up that he's found in a porno shop in the back room with something he's not supposed to do, I could feel his desperation, but I don't think I'm going to be like, yeah, I think he made the right choice.
No, I think she made the wrong choice. You've not heard me say she made the right choice, not at all. But I'm just saying, like, I think if I was going to judge her,
I could give to this, because it says on the can, like,
and it says for what exactly it's intended for in front of the can, right below the label. It says it's for wood,
right?
Plastic, like things that it does not say. Okay. Here's the
there's a chasm. I agree with you all. I'm just saying.
I understand a GoFundMe, but not any. I mean, if she's not doing a lawsuit, that's fine. If there's a GoFundMe, it's like,
I
felt
okay
for her to say I fucked up. Help.
Empathy for her until she threatened to sue them.
She's not suing. She's not
suing because she's getting so much backlash.
No.
So we do have to be careful.
I'm not here to debate all the news stories, but a couple of news stories all confirm that anywhere that says she ever threatened to sue, none of that is true, and that's repeated.
Okay,
I don't want to argue that. I'm just saying that, and the GoFundMe is because the damage is she's going to need wigs. She's going to need a lot to
Probably
deal with.
surgery.
That's totally understandable. See, with me, that was like, oh, I felt like initially, I just felt sorry for her. I felt empathy.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, dumb decision. It happens, We have to take accountability for what we do. It happens to everyone. I think it's when you start saying, oh, you know what? I'm going to go for a money grab because, even though it was obviously my own fault, I think somebody else should be financially responsible for a decision that I made. That's where it, and again.
And here's the thing, Stacy, if that were true, if there was something in the media that confirmed that what you're saying is accurate, then I would agree.
TMZ reported it.
Girl, I do not now. Come on, TMZ. I remember life before TMZ. TMZ, even when TMZ reported they were the first ones to report it that Prince died. I was like, nope. Until I hear it from another source.
Well, okay.
Don't even get me started because the same thing happened with Kobe. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you a heads up just because I've worked with TMZ before. They just don't post information because they can get sued if it's inaccurate. There is sources directly. Mean we've had documentation and proof.
Jesus could work for TMZ. I still that's just Jesus could work for TMZ.
I just got a problem with the guy with the tight shirts, the owner with the tight shirts.
TMZ is run by an attorney. We all know the history. Again, this is probably like I always say, this is just a generational thing. TMZ just will never be. Jesus could God unless God. I'm not.
So one thing we got to remember. One thing we got to remember is there was various news agencies and business interests that many years ago threw out a story about a woman who spilled McDonald's coffee on her crotch.
Oh, I saw those photos.
And then sued them. And then blah blah. Well, the real story turned out she did not sue them for anything more than the original amount to help with their medical expenses. McDonald's was in the wrong for serving their coffee at above 100 degrees. And it took years for this to come out that McDonald's and other lawyers had thrown into the news that it was just her fault. And they tried to actually use racism against it. Like, look at this lady. Like, of course she made this choice. Hey, I actually remember this as a kid, like how bad they tried to make it seem.
I do too.
And so that's why I was wishing there was more information on this, because I saw that Essence was trying to say, hey, it's, they're like, there's people saying things disparaging against the whole black culture for this. Now, look, one of the things is one of the most humanizing things I think for everybody is to realize everybody has idiots. So it's very possible that this is just stupid. But I was looking for more information because I'm like, I know how these companies act, man. Like I'm not one of those guys that says you can't trust the media at all. I mean, I look like it. But,
and I'm not even.
You kind of have to watch it with lawsuits because companies have their writers in everything, and like maybe TMZ is writing the right stuff, but when it comes to these lawsuits, I'm like,
well, let me ask you guys this question. You guys might know.
If there were another source that could prove to me she actually said that, but I think that's
everything's coming directly from. Okay, everything's coming directly.
Well, when someone says, let me ask you guys this question because you guys might know you guys might know the answer better than I do. When you consider litigation, what does that mean?
When you consider, I mean that's to me that's when that's said. That's first of all, that's usually a spin. And it's just a way of saying that somebody brought it up, whether it was the plaintiff or whether it was somebody speaking on behalf of the plaintiff or whomever.
It's very vague.
When you say that, like that's spin. I mean, because I've written for outlets before. I've been reading law for outlets, just all that, and have watched all this shape shift for years.
But can she hire an attorney in this kind of situation? She can, right?
She can if she wants, if that's what she wants. But none of the outlets that I trust and believe fully 100,000% indicate that that's what's accurate.
Well, no. So here's the honest thing. The reality is, again, because I've dealt with this before, if you contact TMZ, you, the individual who is being written upon, you can clearly tell TMZ, hey, just don't say it's me telling you this. Say it's someone else. Okay, I've done this before. You have to provide documentation. Yeah, I've done this before. What TMZ can't just post information if it's inaccurate because they can get sued. There is no legal way
libel
around.
suit,
Yeah.
right? Libel
So
suit.
Fox News exists.
So, but
I hear you, but I just don't believe it. Like that's okay.
That's fine. You don't have to believe it, but
I don't believe nothing unless my dad tells me.
She has every right.
Me though.
To seek a lawsuit. She has every right to seek a lawsuit. She might even. So I've been watching a lot of videos from lawyers and their perspectives on this. The reality is, if Gorilla Glue is really smart, they're going to immediately change the format on their spray bottle to say "not for hair."
That's what Nick said. That's what Nick said in the comments. He said that they're going to put it on there
again.
Right. But Robin Hood doesn't think they're responsible for that baby's suicide either.
Nobody is going to claim responsibility if they want to not get sued. That's the thing. So this can be it's an error, but the reality is they could be held liable if it happens again. You get it?
Right.
So it obviously states what its product is intended for right below the label in front of the bottle. Again, if somebody does it again, unfortunately, they can be legally held responsible for it. So if they're smart, they're going to change the branding. Now,
don't put this shit in your hair.
Which sounds amazing. Like that's totally Like I that makes absolute sense.
They just need to change the bottle, man. That bottle looks way too similar to other products.
So I get it. I think that, like I said, that's the only thing that I'm trying to sort out. Like that at any moment, because I think it's clear that it's not for hair, but I think in this moment of desperation, however she thought that this would work out okay, that's what happened. I agree. Stacy, I totally hear you. We all have, been to school and understand that that's how that's going to go, because we just talked about the Robin Hood thing. They've made these changes, but I'm just saying, I would really, really, really just like to know, like, what stopped you from going to go get more of the got to be the actual hairspray. Like that's
right. That was something I would ask you too.
Of everything, I'm way more interested in that part.
Did somebody accidentally leave that in the bathroom in a split second decision?
It doesn't sound like, based on like the 4 or 5 stories that I've soaked in the 5 minutes we had to come on here. It wasn't somewhere where she could get it confused. It was something that was in the house that she was aware of.
Because I was thinking what we weren't hearing was there was going to be a story about how she's been really faithful to her boyfriend, and she hasn't been telling the press that every night she goes in. Why did you put that in the fucking medicine cabinet?
Like, I mean, nothing that I've read so far. I'm gonna follow it, but nothing that I've read so far indicates that she was.
I think what she wanted to do, like a lot of people on TikTok do, is start or discover something that's a life hack. Like the person who decided to put hemorrhoid cream under their eyes and say, "This works great, dark circles no longer."
Or Donald Trump telling you to inject yourself with was it bleach?
But and again, I believe her, because she's just like, it was just a bad decision. She said the only reason she went on TikTok, which I've seen, is to try to figure out, like, well, there's got to be a way to get this out. Does anybody know of anything?
Well, because that's the thing. People don't take accountability for what they do a majority of the time. I got hit by a car. Some lady ran me over with her car. Her first words were, "Why'd you run in front of my car?"
But okay, well, I'm now I don't even get the correlation.
I'm just saying, people have problems taking accountability for what they do, their mistakes. It's a common human trait.
That I hear.
Why
but
is the school on my gun range?
Like, I don't even understand that answer. All I'm saying is that she said she went on to try to figure out how to get it off. That's it.
Yeah. What was it, like turpentine or something?
If she's not being responsible or accountable, I don't understand how that statement led to that. Like, I'm just saying that she had the shit in her hair, bless her heart, for the whole month of January. The shit had been in for like 4 weeks. And at the point that she realized that it was for real after washing her hair 15 times, that it wasn't, that her hair wasn't moving, that it wasn't.
That's scary.
That would be normal. That would be the normal thing to happen after, okay, I put some shit in my hair that I wasn't supposed to put in there. Let me wash it out. Oh, it's not washing out. Oh, now it's been 4 weeks. Now, like, I don't know what to do, because I do know that this probably is not for my hair, but there's got to be some way to get this out. And like we were having the earlier crazy glue conversation, acetone, like there's a hack and there's a remedy for so much shit. So I'm just seeing somebody who made a very, 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 very bad error. And then in this society we now live in, where you can go and get anything off of YouTube, off of TikTok, like you can get any piece of information to do anything off of anywhere, you know. This woman who runs a daycare is the lead of, and clearly she's someone who is in that world of being in social. Look, I mean, did you see the eyelashes? Did anybody see the eyelashes?
Oh no,
like
she had some nice eyelashes.
No, not at all. I didn't see them at all. They were green.
I know. So I'm just trying, like, so it just felt like some shit that just went so bad. And like I said, again, I'm way more curious about what was the difference between getting her hair together in that very moment.
Honestly, she doesn't seem so bright. I mean, why would it take you 4 weeks for you to do something about it? At 2 weeks, I'd be like, okay. Obviously,
so that was the conversation we had before you came on. It is not unusual when a Black woman gets her hair together to keep it tied up and to do whatever. This hair that I buy, this has been in for exactly 4 weeks. Next week, this will come out, and I will put some more in. So,
but it wouldn't concern you if you put glue on your Gorilla Glue? Like that would be the one thing that would.
I would say glue is another matter, but this idea of like 4 weeks, I'm sure that in the time she was having some frustration and some concern because she said, trying to put tea tree and all of that. But I think there was just like anything. Okay, well, I've tried this, I've tried that, and then there's just the moment you wake up and say, hey, something's got to fucking give, and whatever that is for people is very different.
That's what I'm saying.
Do you think we would have even heard about this if it was really fucking good looking? Like, do you think we'd even hear about it if it was really fucking good looking? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Like, I'm lazy. Like, if I did something like this and it came out fucking badass looking, I'd be like, fuck it. I don't have to do anything again. It's permanent. Done.
Right, exactly. Until the moment that you start to panic, and I'm not even. I don't think she was sitting idly by for 4 weeks. I just think she got to the place where she realized nothing was working, and that threshold for everybody is different. For you, Stacy, I totally respect that it is 2 weeks. That's a good boundary. But she probably was like, okay, and then what am I going to do? And I guess, bless her heart, she at some point thought that it was going to come out if we do this, and then it just. None of what she thought, bless her heart, turned out to be.
Yeah, I want to see the end result, man, because
me too.
That's gonna be so painful.
Well, from what we saw from that clip, like I was fascinated at how it did seem that it changed her hair into magic marker. Like that was just fascinating. I know why she didn't like it, of course, but like it was fascinating. Like, wow, that chemical reaction changed your hair into looking like really flat and patchy in certain areas. Of course you hate it. I'm sorry. Like I feel bad for you on that, but
that
reminds me of the Dana, do you remember Murray's?
Yes.
The pomade. Well, back in the mid 90s and 90s, we had a big trend with greasers. And that's exactly the pomade that they would use to flex the pompadours and whatnot. But it was very difficult to remove from your hair, and you had to take maybe a day or two to remove it and not put anything in it.
You've only met me in the last year. I wore my hair cut low for 20 years. I mean, when I say cut low, I'm talking about Sinead O'Connor low. And for all the people who would be after me to do a better job of brushing my hair, I had a can of Murray's because they were like, well, Dana, if you put the Murray's in your hair and you brush it, it'll have waves. Dana, but I just, first of all, I didn't care enough about hair or hair care to be bothered, but I did invest in the Murray's. It was, like you said, it's gummy, it's whatever. Like I have an aversion. This, she's 40. I think if I was a judging person, I think the thing that worried my soul too was the decision. And like, if you're 20 and, and maybe even 30, but bless her heart, 40 with 5 kids, I just feel like there's, my imagination says that there would be a little more pacing and looking at the can, or looking, slowing down just a little bit to really.
Maybe we just don't know her life situation. Yeah.
Right. We don't.
Maybe she was in a rush. Who knows, man? But I wanted to share that with all of you. And then this brings me to the thought-provoking question segment of the podcast. And it's kind of relevant to what we were all talking about. Are y'all ready for this?
Are you all ready for this?
Probably not. But it's gonna be great.
This is deep. This is deep. This is deep. All right, Dana. Here's a question. All right, so the question I found was, do you think it's scarier to think about how much of our life is formed by the things that are out of our control, or how much of our life is formed by the things that are within our control? So think about that for a second. Is it scarier to think about how much your life is formed by things that are out of your control, completely out of control, like, you have no control whatsoever, or how much of your life is formed by things that you actually have full control over? So which one is it scary to think about, the out of control stuff or the things that you have actually done to shape not only your long-term perspective, but think about that for a second. Yeah. I mean, because I thought about this shit too. And the only thing I can think about right now that's relevant, say, for example, this thing with Tess, was it Tessica, right? That's her name. This is, if you ask me, this was completely within her control.
Right.
Now it's scary because this is going to shape her long term, because it's like the equivalent of, I don't know, man. I could probably say gluing your lips shut,
right,
with actual glue.
Being that kid that stuck his tongue to the pole during the winter.
Yes, that
Christmas
type of
story.
stuff, man.
Yeah, you're that kid for the next 5 years. Everyone knows.
But then again, there's the stuff that's out of our control, and Stacy can relate because my household was affected by it as well, and it's COVID-19. Like, who would have thought? Like, you would just go to fucking dinner, normal dinner, like 2-3 people, 4, maybe a little kid, 5. And then you're like, fuck, I don't feel well the next day. And then, okay, nothing. And then, shit, I can't smell nothing. And then you try to eat something, you're like, fuck, what's going on? And you think it's within your control because you're playing it safe. You have your safeguards in place. You have all this shit. And it probably took one move out of your control. It could have been touching a doorknob. And then you actually went like that or something. That was it. That to me is like, okay, this is interesting. So, and then there's what I always tell people about is my drunk driving incident and the day that Michael Jackson died. Completely within my control. I knew my limit. I didn't drive to the party, right? I carpooled with another drunk driver, obviously. And they drove me back to my car. I was already like maybe, 5-6 drinks, whatever, maybe 2 shots. But I was a devout Michael Jackson fan, and I was very sad that day. And I needed to go to that tribute night that they had in Alhambra. And within my control to start the ignition. Shouldn't have done that. Within my control to make a right-hand turn. Within my control to make a left-hand turn. While looking at my phone, I hit a parked car.
A parked car?
Yeah, like a dummy.
Yes. And you signaled for it.
Yes.
Signaled.
Yes.
I'm gonna hit this bitch over here and just went into it.
You put your hand out the window to signal what you were doing. Is it?
Yeah. You did this, and then you pointed right at the car. Fuck that one right there.
Hey, move it already.
I didn't understand the logic. I didn't understand the logic of some of my peers that are like, oh no, that was totally not your fault. I'm like, yes, it was. I clearly made a left turn. I was drunk and I hit a parked car. No, but you could fight it. I'm like, what fight? Oh yeah. Also, what was out of my control? Like I drew Stacy, you're gonna trip out on this. Guess what my BAC level was? And they let me blow 4 times. Can you take a guess?
Oh, you had to blow 4 cops? 4 cops in a row?
Double the legal limit? I don't even know what the legal limit is. I don't get to
the legal limit is 0.08.
Yeah, it should be 1.2, but whatever.
Yeah, I blew a 0.25 4 times.
Wow.
Yes. They threw the book at me. It was my first and only offense. The guy said, "Oh man."
See,
The
I know
judge
someone
said, "Yeah, I got to throw the book at you, so you won't do it again." So it was painful, and of course, I had to do jail time. I had to do DUI classes. I had to do all that stuff. And guess what, Stacy? They're like, "Oh, you're on the waiting list for your last requirement, besides restitution and the fines." I'm like, "What is it?" He goes, "You got to go visit the coroner's office."
Oh, you
And I'm
got
like,
Lindsay Lohan.
funny story. She was in my class.
What? And they
Yes.
sent you to jail, my friend. They sent you to jail.
So,
Yeah,
like, did you
I had to
smash?
surrender.
Oh, no,
So-
never mind.
You had to surrender, like, but did you have to serve time?
Yeah, not hardcore. It's called wino time. That's what all my peers call it. It wasn't big time. It was only like I got 2 days credit, and then I got processed through the window, and they let me go. But I saw a bunch of people that knew me already because I've growing up in the hood. I know these guys are locked up, and they all scold you like, "Hey, you shouldn't be in here. You're better than that." I'm on my 5th GTA, and it was pretty badass. And I was just like, "Oh shit." He goes,
What's a
"Yeah,
GTA?
I just
Grand Theft
Grand
Auto.
Theft Auto.
Yeah."
Stealing cars
And then check this out. I had a failure to appear in court.
I love fractions. That's who I am.
Dana, I had a failure to appear in court in November of 2011 on a Sunday. They served a warrant. I was eating cereal watching the Patriots game, and they took me in my sweats and whatever sandals I had to go see a judge on Monday morning. And I was in the holding cell with all these dudes. Some guy was like double murder. But I was like, cool. Like, hey, what's up? Like, we'll just talk shop, whatever. It's a different world, man. It is. And I got all that stuff taken care of. And I believe a DUI stays on your record in California for 10 years. So as of 2019, it officially got removed.
Expunged?
Now, for expungement, though, like full expungement is almost it's a possibility, but when they fingerprint you, it'll still pop up. But lesson learned, I always tell people like, hey man, if you ever want to drive that shit face, don't do it.
Get an Uber.
I mean, some people, yeah, back then, I mean, it was 2009.
Oh,
I was working at JP Morgan Chase. Oh, I didn't lose my job. I got lucky, but the judge is like, hey man, this is your first offense, and I'm gonna make sure you don't do this again. Right. Not to say that, okay, I haven't done it like recently, but not like that.
Not like that.
Yeah, not like that.
Yeah.
oh my god.
Hey,
no. I'm saying like I was actually like that I wasn't too far from home. But now what I do, I take Ubers, right? But like if it's just like if I gotta move my car and I have like 5-6 beers, whatever at home, I gotta move my car here up and down, then I'll do that. But even that's risky, of course. Yeah,
now
but I'm
Now
not gonna do that. No,
they're gonna know.
No,
Ed, I knew someone that at a sobriety checkpoint they blew a 3.
Whoa.
I know, but whatever gets you out of the ticket, right?
3?
Oh my gosh.
This guy over here. This guy.
All right, so give me your opinion on this thought-provoking question.
Who?
With the idea of how much an adult can shape the way a child is later
Yes.
by actions they do to them, I am more scared by what's in the control of humans than I am outside of what's control of humans.
Really?
Humans make the worst shit. Okay, we do good stuff, right? I'm not going to be totally down on it, but we were talking about this before the show. Humans made in America where you can sell a product that has cheese in the name that doesn't have fucking cheese in it. You understand how scared you should be that that's okay? That you can be lied to by people with money anytime they want to lie to you and there's no law against it just to get you to buy it. That scares me way more than death. I want real cheese.
Wow.
I was just gonna
I
say
want real cheese.
You want 100% real cheese. You're like, my burger at Burger King is not beef.
Bullshit. They can say that something is cheese. You look at the back. There's no fucking cheese in this. Yeah, but you bought it, right? It sucks to be you. There's no law against lying to you with the name of a product, and that shows you like the American capitalist system. There's nothing against someone outsmarting you for their money. They can't be big enough, punch you, and take it. But they can just outsmart you and take your shit. And too bad you're not as smart as me.
Well, that's the same. That's the same as some of the fried chicken sandwich stuff. They don't have to say it's fried anymore.
Yeah,
there's a whole new terminology.
I never understood that. Yeah,
yeah. There's a
oil bathed.
There's Super Size Me 2. You can watch it free on YouTube.
Yeah,
they have a whole section. He's like, so how do I get the free range exactly for my chicken so I can use it as a selling point for my chicken sandwiches? The guy's like, oh, that's easy, man. You just got to get a little gate, just a little gate, and they can just kind of walk outside, walk back in. And he's like, oh, that's free range? He's like, yeah, that's free range, baby.
That's kind of like how Americans are free range workers.
Yes.
You're a free range worker. You can live anywhere you want. Hell, you can even pay for it. Better show up to work tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. And then, they would have him.
We are going to get our bacon and eggs from you somehow.
They would have him, he asked, so can I put fake grill marks on the chicken sandwich, even though it's fried? And the guy's like, yeah. You just have to call it something else. You can't call it you don't want to call it fried chicken sandwich or a grilled chicken sandwich. Oh, yeah.
That sounds delicious, man.
It's hilarious. If you get a chance to watch it, definitely check it out because it talks a lot about what we're talking about. How Dan was saying that they say cheese, but it's not real cheese. So the Super Size Me 2 is about him showing you something very similar. I'm gonna make you think it's a healthy chicken sandwich, but it's a fried chicken sandwich.
Yeah.
Right? Whoa.
Oh yeah.
I'm a firm believer you should be able to sue any product that doesn't work the way it fucking worked during their demonstration on TV. You should be able to sue them and say fuck you and take all their money because they lied to you. It's ridiculous that it is legal to lie to people to get their money. Like that shouldn't be. The dog fucking agrees. Do you hear him?
He's so passionate about your statement.
Like, what is that toy?
He's like, yes.
I keep taking them away, and he keeps finding more.
It's just interesting. I mean, I'm not a religious guy, but the one thing I took from the 10 Commandments that I live by is thou shalt not lie. Don't fucking lie to people. Like, is it really that hard? Is it really that hard on a resume not to tell someone you could do something you fucking can't so you don't go and ruin 5 other people's life because you showed up to the job and you can't fucking do your job and you ruin their time they have to make up for you? Don't lie. God damn it. Anyway,
who is it, Dan? Who is it? Who did this?
Who hurt you?
Who hurt you?
No, it's just that it's something that bothered me. I grew up in a household where we were super honest. Maybe to a ridiculous degree to other people. I don't know. And then I go out in the adult world and I'm like, there's not everybody, but there's so many people just lying to get one over on the other person. Like, why is this the way you want it to be? Really? We don't even need this. With the technology we have, you don't need to lie to anybody anymore. You don't need to compete at that level anymore. Why are you still doing it?
Honey,
I'm stuck in Cro-Magnon brain.
Honey, is this pie any
not
good?
Lying anymore.
No, Mom, it's stuck.
It's stretching the truth. That's
stretching the
what
truth.
it's called.
You know what happens when I stretch my truth in public? People get me arrested.
My Lord.
Bullshit.
All right,
because I call it the truth because I
next?
believe in it.
Stefan, you're gonna go next because
I'm gonna go next.
Dan's just on a tangent about McDonald's.
Yeah.
I want cheese.
I want cheese in there.
And it's gotta be real. I don't want this fake Matrix cheese.
And Whit said, "Who hurt you?" Thanks, Whit.
Oh man,
it was the system.
Stefan, do you think it's scarier to think about how much of your life is formed by things that are out of your control, or how much of your life is formed?
I would say within my own control, man. Within my own control. Because, really? Oh yeah, man. You can prevent a lot of stupid shit from happening if you just have common sense. Not saying it's very common,
Doesn't exist.
There's even I forget the rapper, but he has a line It kind of can be applied, maybe not, but he's like, if you don't make dollars, you don't make sense, right? But I'm just using that in the reference to the common sense. Common sense isn't very common, so I think like even having a kid with all the unknowns, you know, when my wife had to go back to work and I had to raise my daughter, man, oh, that was terrifying because I had to take care of my daughter and then my disabled brother, right? And my disabled brother, he loved to shave and leave razors on the edge of the counter. And when my daughter learned to walk, and he wouldn't even close his bathroom door, right? Oh yeah, the scissors too, man.
Whoa! Scissors, man.
Oh yeah, this is why my wife and him didn't get along because he'd do crazy fucking shit, you know, like naked yoga with a stranger on the computer in the middle of the night.
Oh
Get out of the room. The people can't sleep next door. What's going on? And I open the door. Oh yeah, crazy fucking shit, bro. You know,
so Sundays.
Yeah, so you know, raising a child and then trying to raise another person who mentally is a child, that shit, dude. I definitely say within stuff, you know, the stuff that you're gonna have to that you can think. Well, at least some of it you think you can control. You know, it's just crazy, man. I think yeah, you know, because it's kind of like one of those things like if you're at the park, right, and you got a phone call. And your daughter is playing on the swing, and you're like, honey, I'm going to take this phone call. Well, I hope the phone call is you staring at your child while there's like strangers walking around the fucking park.
Right.
And you don't turn around for 10 seconds because guess what? Your kid's going to be gone. Your kid's gonna be gone. And that shit happens every day.
It
right?
does.
And that can be preventable. Don't pick up your fucking phone. There you go. Problem solved. You know,
hold on to your kid while you're answering that fucking phone call.
Well, that's also why we had a leash, and we got a lot of shit from family and friends and strangers. Well, why do you have your kid on a leash? It's like, do you have a hyper kid? If you don't have a hyper kid that's fucking nuts, I don't know what to tell you. Because until then, you're not going to agree with what we're doing. But then again,
we had a comment here about the question. It said, depends on where you're coming from. For example, if your life is shit, probably scarier knowing your personal decisions cause that, but better to know so you can make better decisions. Right. Now, here's the thing. Here's the funny you should bring that up because I'll use myself as an example. I grew up in an uber domestic violence home. And, you know, that was a bad card I was dealt with. Now, was my life shit because of that? Probably, yeah. But he brings up a good point. I made personal decisions to kind of like thwart
change that for your kids. Yeah, to change it for your kids.
But at the same time, like, okay, that was to get away from the home situation and then come home and I'm just like, fuck, I got to deal with this. And it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So that caused me to be a uber latchkey kid and totally unsupervised. And you know, it sucked, but in the end, it's like, okay, so then I started making bad decisions. Like I said, hanging out with the gangbangers. I started already spray painting on walls. I was already, you know, smoking weed out of a Coca-Cola can. You used to poke it. You know, I used to do all that stuff. So, but and, you know, that's kind of what I made out of the cards I was dealt. Yeah. But I'll tell you this: the decision I made. That just pretty much kind of saved me from all that shit was I decided to join sports. And it wasn't because I was good at them. You know, I got good at them just with practice, but there was two things that saved me. It was video games and sports. That was the two things that saved me. And of course, watching, you know, movies like over and over. But like that goes to this question, like there's shit that was completely out of my control that my mom was doing at home with you know, with her boyfriend.
Oh yeah.
And then I had to go through it with her. I as a child, you don't understand, like, okay, well, this is some kind of sick sadistic love that's going on in your household. And I try to get away as much as possible. But you know, sometimes you get caught in the crossfire and you're just like, whoa. And then living in South Central for a minute too. Right off of Central and Vernon, that for me was, I mean, most people are like, oh, that's horrible. I'm like, no, like that was a perfect avenue for me to go, oh, I could go this way. I could go this way. I could meet this person, this and this person. But at the same time, I'm just like, easily, I'm like, okay, I could choose that route, and that's not necessarily the best route ever. And what kind of changed my perspective in that scenario was when the 1992 riots hit, the Rodney King riots, and that's I saw people of not all shapes, all sizes, all colors, just the ugliest shit I've ever seen, man. That was fucked up. And I not a cop in sight, because was it Bill, wasn't it Daryl Gates said no, don't go down there. I saw gangbangers with AK-47s telling the fire department, let that motherfucker burn.
Did you see Nick's comment down below? Ed?
What do you say? Edgar became the wizard from the Fred Savage movie. And you know what? I wanted to be that guy.
It's interesting you bring this up, and what brought up before, the depends on where you're coming from. And for example, your life is shit, probably scary knowing it's your personal decisions. I don't think he's saying this, but I have heard people talk about, hey, if your life's crap, it's probably something you did. And then I always think of Elizabeth Fritzl, held captive by her dad for 24 years against her will. Her life was shit for 24 years. Was that her choice? No. And it's so, like, sometimes I do hear the oversimplification that if something in your life is crap, maybe it's something you did. Well, then I think about Elizabeth Fritzl, and I know that it's all more complicated than that. It's way more complicated. Life is way more complicated than a black and white, like it's all your choices that determine where you're going to be. There's also things outside your control, and it sucks. And if there wasn't stuff for that, we wouldn't need social reform, which we continue to do over and over again every generation.
I don't always think when people say it's your decisions that cause it, that it's as much as an oversimplification of what they're saying, as much as it could possibly be us, that we're understanding it in a very simple way. All the decisions and choices that we make typically come from not only a conscious place, but a subconscious place. And so much of what drives our habits, where we go, what we do, how we think. And I'm not necessarily speaking for or against Elizabeth Fritzl. I'm just saying, to his comment, and in general, how we see it, it's that, you know, so much of what gets dropped into us from the time that we exit our mother's womb, enter the planet, and until we leave, there's information we get before we can speak. There are things that we hear and that we know in places that we don't even know that we know. And then there's all the stuff that bubbles up. And according to, you know, science, there's at the age of 7 is when we have kind of a conscious mind to say, I know right from wrong. That number, that age of 7 is kind of a scientific number, assuming all things equal. Clearly people who raise their children a certain way, have children who can manage better or worse before the age of 7, and maybe some not till after. I think it's to realize that when you ask the question of, do we think it's scarier to think about how much of our life is formed out of things that are out of our control versus what's formed by the things that are in our control? I think personally, this is just me, I think they're just kind of equal. However one feels, either it's all scary or none of it's scary. And that's just me. Right. Because what it's taken time. This isn't where I am today, is not where I always was. There was plenty of time I spent feeling like the world was doing something to me, and I just lost a friend to COVID. I had 3 people in my life dealing with the COVID pneumonia strain. I have a 69-year-old aunt she probably was dealing longer than they realized it, went into a hospital and is now in a rehab center. I have another girlfriend who was sick at home, healed. I have another friend who was somewhere, I would say health picture wise, right in between those two, and he's in the ground, like he's dead. So I feel as though is there something that Gregory did or didn't do that was different from what my Aunt Marion did, that was different or better or same than what my friend Tian did? Who knows? I think at the core of it all is the work to constantly examine how we think and see the world, what we actually deem as scary, and what those thoughts then draw into our experience, and at the levels of depth as to where it is scary. So again, how I see this is, I didn't always think this way. So I don't think either is any scarier necessarily than the other, because I, at this point in my life, don't necessarily look at things as out of my control or necessarily in my control. All I have control of is, you know, how I think, how I feel, how I speak about something, how I act and react to things. And because all of it is just happening. And it's hard, I'm not saying that I don't place a value base on it, but whatever value base it has, when I call it control, those are things that I've decided, because what's out of control to me may be different. So for me, I don't think that either is scarier or not scarier than the other. Do things terrify me? Yes, because I'm housed in a human body for which I've gone through things, and there are things in my subconscious that, yeah, I'm still at 53. I'm still scared of the dark. Shit, I don't know what to say. I do not right now in my apartment. When I go to bed at night, I do not turn off every light. I don't. That may change one day. That may change. However many days are left. So for me, I think it's to look at it in the way that for me, I'll just say for me is to just look at it like, how do I see this thing? What do I think about this thing? Whatever it is, whether we're talking about COVID from the streets, whether we're talking about, Iraq, Iran, history, whatever it is. And so I think it's fear. Who was it? Truman, whomever in history that said there's nothing to fear but fear itself.
It was
Truman. Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Tigers that are hungry.
Wait. So I know you got. Was it Truman, you guys? Was it Truman? I want to get a read on.
I believe
Truman
it was
or Churchill.
Yeah. One of those.
Winston Churchill or Harold Truman. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the two.
So anyway, fear itself to me is the motherfucker. Like fear, being scared is the problem. And I think of all the things that any of us and Stephen, you're Buddhist, and I'm not necessarily here to have, the religious conversation or the spiritual conversation or the denominational conversation is obviously another day. But I think our best bet is to equip ourselves with the tools to scrub out fear the same way we scrub out, bacteria from our mouth, the same way that I scrub my underarm is to scrub my mind, because so much of what any of us have that makes us afraid or scared or place value bases on anything, we all got it so honest. We all got third place. We thought we should have got second. We all, you know what I'm saying? Like we've all, and so that stuff comes in. So for me, that's the only answer I have, that it is at this point in my life hard for me to assign the value base of out of control or in control, as much as how do I think about this? How do I feel about this? What am I saying about this? How do I act about this? And then how do I react to this thing? And
very interesting.
Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Franklin D. Roosevelt. Yeah, there you go.
In 1933, inaugural address.
Yeah.
He had to fear ramps without someone to help him, though.
Oh.
What? I would fear that. If I was in his state, I would fear the shit out of that.
Too early,
I would
bro.
be afraid. I would be afraid out of my mind for unexpected roller coasters.
Too early, Dan. Too early.
Stacy, what about you? So do you think it's scarier to think about how much of your life is formed by the things that are out of your control, or how much of your life is formed by the things that are within your control? Which one's scarier?
She's like, God damn it.
That's why I got the question. It's deep. It's deep.
I know. You know why? The only reason it's difficult for me to answer is I highly agree with what. Oh my God, I'm like spacing out because I don't like. There are certain things that kind of bug me, and it has a lot to do with my own personal trauma. So it just like you, and I had a really hostile, traumatic childhood, unstable parents, which is why I agree so much with Dana, because if I consider, or if I realize that the fear is there because of things that are out of my control, then I'm not going to want to leave my apartment actively. I don't like, yes, absolutely. I completely fear things that are completely out of my control, because I could be doing everything right and something can still obviously go wrong. Case in point, getting hit by a car. I used a crosswalk. I was waiting for the light to turn. The light turned. I still got hit.
Right.
There are other circumstances that also have made me realize that, unfortunately, you can make, at the end of the day, there are decisions that we make, and they are decisions that could be all in no harm intended, decisions that in any way are morally correct, but unfortunately there are things that occur that we are not planned with. Let's say I'm so happy this did not happen. You didn't hit a parked car, you hit somebody. That person could have literally just been walking down the street to the convenience store on the sidewalk, and you strike them.
Yeah.
We're going to say that person was doing everything right, and because of circumstance, they were impacted by a decision that they had no control of.
Right. Absolutely.
And being
true.
your friend, I would try to convince you that he was the next Hitler, and you weren't in the wrong. Because I want you to feel okay
but you can
about
fight
the rest
that.
of your life. Yeah.
Or you could. Let's say you take your kids to school, your kids go to school on the dot. They're great kids. They have the greatest of grades. They love you so much. It's absolute unconditional love. They're the best, well-maintained kids. They behave, which we know is like not true, but anyway, not true, but still, whatever. They're the sparkle in your eye, and somebody comes down and shoots the entire school or your classroom, and your kids are gone. And
well, thanks for making me remember that thought.
So I'm just saying that's
it can
now
happen.
I like COVID more. They're home.
That's why
it's real though. I mean, that's raw, and it's a good reminder. Like, hey man.
Yeah. Which is why I don't like to think about these things, because it's scary that there are so many things that could go wrong that are completely out of our control that we can be doing right. It's just
it's Murphy's Law. That's what they call it.
Yeah, which is in reference why I agree so much with Dana that I don't like putting so much attention to it, because it impacts my way of living. If I realize how scary it is, then I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna
live.
Yeah, I'm gonna be so scared. I'm gonna be like, why am I going outside? Something could hit me again. Why am I going outside? I could be driving down the freeway and an accident happens. Like,
what
is that?
What is that?
Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyway. And who said that, Dan?
John Wayne. I know he's controversial, but that's what I'm
John
Not
Wayne.
the best of people, but a very good quote.
People, but it is the truth.
It's a good quote.
Hey, look, Hitler said Volkswagens are going to be great, and he was right about that. Sometimes a broken clock is right. So,
don't you? It's hard though, because I try to kill them all.
Yeah.
I mean, at least we're all responsible for the decisions that we make. We always know that it's risk-based. Okay. You can go to Starbucks and say, hey, I normally get a regular black iced coffee, but today I feel like I want a triple shot Americano. I am making the decision to over-caffeinate myself today and probably get the shits later. Like, that's the risk I'm willing to take, okay? Or
rapid metabolism.
Or I am actively going to not pay my phone bill by 5 days. Worst thing that can happen is they're going to shut off my service, or that I'm just going to get nonstop texts like, hurry the fuck up and pay your bill, Like, I am responsible for the actions I take, whether it's actively deciding to drunk text an ex because I decided to drink more just to, process the rest of the week or pandemic, whatever it was. These are decisions that we formally take, and the only reason they would be scary would be, actually, I don't find them scary because I'm actively taking the risk of doing so. It's like me investing into the stock market. There's a big potential that I could lose all my money, but that's a risk that I'm willing to take. And it's, a little concerning, but I'm choosing to take that risk. I am making an active decision to take that risk, just like I'm taking an active decision not to worry about, how scary things are out of my control. So yes, I agree. Scary out of control is like frightening. It scares the crap out of me, gives me anxiety just thinking about it, just like, but I am actively deciding not to think about that because that's really deep.
Yeah, and the reason for these thought-provoking questions and nothing to trigger in your mind, but I was an avid Tony Robbins fan for like a long time, and it took me to actually see him in person to really like, I thought this guy was like a used car salesman for a long time.
He's got some energy, brother. He's got some energy,
man,
bro.
This guy was the real fucking deal. And I was like, whoa, like he cusses, he has all this wicked energy. And I'm just like, whoa, what the hell? And they had sent us in early 2006 to, I believe it was the Long Beach Convention Center for one of his Unleash the Power Within, whatever. Mm-hmm. And he had basically reiterated a speech that he gave at a TED Talk. That's probably one of the most watched TED Talks in TED Talk history, I guess. But he mentioned Maslow's hierarchy of needs and his interpretation of it. But he said something that resonated for the rest of my life to the present day, is that whatever you focus on, you give it a meaning. Yeah. And I never even like thought of that. Anything you immediately define anything you do. Like, for example, my biggest pet peeve, and I gotta catch myself doing it, is when I do something clumsy, immediately I give it a negative and a horrible meaning. And I did not even knew I was doing that. I didn't even know I was doing that for the longest time. And then finally I caught myself doing it. I'm like, fuck, I beat myself up over this shit. And I'm like, this is not good. So then the question came up where like, are you terrified of things that are that shape your life, that are in your total control or out of your control? And all these thoughts start flooding. But then hearing Danna and Stacy like say like, hey, if you live in that type of mental like clamp, then you're not going to live. And I think that's exactly what's happening right now with the pandemic, unfortunately. And there's a yin and a yang to this whole thing. And that's why people were moving out of California and going to Texas. That's where people were trying to flee to Florida. They were trying to flee to whoever was open, because there was that ultimate uncertainty that they're like, we're not going to survive here and we're as good as dead. We might as well catch COVID and die.
But so, isn't that the problem?
And
real problem, like that guy that he invested all his money and then thought he should kill himself because he lost money. Isn't the problem that losing that much money is so devastating that you would kill yourself? Isn't the real problem that you're that dependent on money that you're going to move out of state you love because of money?
I don't think that's it.
Really,
so
the problem.
Hold on, but now, Ed, were we talking when you said people left? Were they leaving because of money or because of fear of COVID? Like,
no, they were leaving because of money. They were leaving because nothing was opening in California. I'll give you an example of what industry, comedians, stand-up comics.
Yeah.
That was a big component of not just LA, but all of Tinseltown in general. Nobody was filming shit. They weren't even allowing like rooftop, like sets.
Open air comedy.
Yeah. I mean, the Comedy Store was doing everything remote, and they had a plexiglass in front of, you, the stand-up comedian, and then your audience, which is like maybe like a group of like 7 or 8 peers, whatever. It was stiff. And
Yeah.
What's going on in Austin, Texas, for example, is Dave Chappelle and Joe Rogan are touring, and all you have to do is wear your mask, space out, boom. You got at least
didn't Dave get COVID?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So there you go. Like, that's the thing, is the reality is it's here. I'm sorry that the economy is we've become so dependent on the economy that you're willing to risk getting a virus that could kill you to keep the economy going. That's really the problem. Is we're so dependent on that money instead of we just haven't developed a system that actually really cares about the value of just people being alive.
Yeah, they don't value human life.
That's the problem, though. We're so dependent on fear that it causes us to make such rash decisions. Like, I'm going to bring up what you mentioned, Dan, in reference to the person over the suicide over Robin Hood. And I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but I am a suicide survivor. I lost someone really close to me to suicide. He was on the phone and everything I said to him, I couldn't stop him anyway. The thing happens is we let our fears control our thinking. And yes, we're placed in situations where we feel the world is falling apart, but situations are temporary. And if we let that fear control us, and we don't adapt to the current environment or situation, that's where we make those rash decisions. People are meant to adapt in order to survive. We've done this for so long.
Mm-hmm.
If people feel that leaving the state of California is their only way of adapting, then that's a decision that they are making. Is it rash? Yes. But they're willing to embrace any consequences of doing so. Either they're going to benefit or they're going to have consequences to it, whether it's getting COVID because they wanted to continue living their lives the way that it was during the middle of a pandemic, or they're going to financially be in a better situation. We adapt. That is how we do. Now, in reference to the person that unfortunately lost their lives, they felt that they needed to no longer be in this world because they couldn't continue on financially. And unfortunately, it's a situation where I am not sure if I read that correctly. There was fear that he was going to have his parents. He was going to need his parents' money, or he didn't want to burden his parents over that money. Which honestly, I can put myself in his shoes. That's a really awful burden to have. You know, you're like, oh my God, I just screwed my life up and all my parents' life, my family's life because of this one decision that I made, or this decision that I didn't even know how it happened. I honestly do. And there's not so much information as to what really happened there yet. I'm sure as this progresses, there's going to be more information out there, but his decision was based off fear. Okay. It was him saying, oh my God, I don't know how I'm going to adapt. Oh my God, this isn't temporary. I'm screwed. Everything's screwed. And he made that decision based off fear. If we let that impact us, then those rash decisions are going to occur. But yeah, no. I feel like what's stuff out of control, because he was a victim of an out of control circumstance. It turned out that it wasn't really what happened. Yeah. But he went into freak out mode and he worried about the worst case scenario. He didn't sleep on it, or he didn't give it a few days for it to see if there was a possible temporary remedy to it, had that been the situation but it turned out it wasn't the situation, Yeah. It's
exactly what happened in the stock market crash before the Great Depression. That's the jumping out of windows thing.
People were jumping out of windows. That's crazy shit. But nonetheless, Stacy, man, a great perspective. I mean, all of you actually. That would be a good topic to cover next time, because it kind of gets swept under the rug a lot. I know that, and especially with people that I know that have also dealt with this type of I guess you could call it a demon, and made it out alive and had a new life. And you know, I wasn't too far behind that, but you know, my traumas are a little bit different. But at the same time, I'm just like, holy shit, like, you know, those are people that I kind of gravitate towards. And I'm like, okay, you need to surround yourself with as much love as possible, and just don't disconnect as much as you want to, because surrounding yourself with people, especially people you like, you don't have to love them, but you like them. At least mitigates those feelings, because that's what I know. A lot of stand-up comedians, they have a lot of, you know, a lot of stuff going on in their head, and that's probably why I gravitate towards a lot of them. You know, hence, you know, let me just put it up here, therapy of the absurd. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining. I've been wanting to get all four of you on, including I forget your dog's name, Stacy.
Wait, no, he's number 5. He's not one.
Yeah, I'm like that's the real star of the show.
I do want to say one thing, Ed. I was going to reply to Wit, but instead I'm just
let's bring that real quick. And
no, I'm not going to reply to him. Instead, I'm going to say the other thing I was going to say that's more important. Wit's one of the best bass players that's ever existed on this planet. Love you, Wit.
Oh, okay, but yeah, sir. Look, Wit brings up a really good question here, a really good comment, and I'm going to bookmark this because I want to actually talk about this next time. Because him and I have always discussed about different options outside of California, even before the pandemic hit. That's something I really kind of want to dive into pre and post pandemic. That way, because I know a ton of people that left, and a ton of people they stayed, and they all have valid reasons for doing so. So,
I just want to jump in before we completely go. One, I want to thank you. I think it's a great question, and I think this is so much of it. You know, we hear these words, but I honestly believe them. It's just so much about mindset. You know, like and that ultimately, you know, I know that I'm sure that that's what Stacy and I are really referring to. That there's a mindset. You know, whether again, you know, whether we want to talk about it in terms of religion or spirituality, whatever, but everything has the value that we place. To your Tony Robbins comment, like it's whatever attention that you pay to something, that is what grows. It doesn't mean that the other stuff that you're experiencing is not happening, but where are you placing your attention? You know, I talk about, people know in my stand-up, I talk often about DJ D Nice, but this is someone who was in tears the first week of the pandemic because he had to, like, you know, return deposits on DJ gigs. His oldest daughter's in law school. He's paying, you know, but at the end of the year, he's in a new house. Another African American influencer by the name of Tabitha Brown, you know, she's had a year in COVID. She just got a house. I'm not, you know, I don't know what neighborhoods, but clearly we know that there are gates involved. We know that there are, you know, there's privacy and seclusion. So we know that they're not living around the corner from me in Mid-City, you know, and you know, at an absolute love, because I take a house in Mid-City. I take a house around the corner from myself right now because I live in
I just want a house.
But every day, the other thing that I also deal with is that it is a mindset that has me where I am, and it is a different mindset that is upon me to get me where it is I say I want to go. So that, you know, so again, I no longer value it as in my control or out of my control. I can only do what Tony Robbins said. I can only begin to get serious about placing my attention on that I would like to have in my life, whether it is touchable at this point, tangible or not. And then these so-called, or, you know, these perceived out of control circumstances, it's amazing how things will line up depending on where you place your attention. And that we once thought was out of control, all of a sudden isn't anymore. Everything is right down, you know, so that's, so I look forward to, you know, the next powerful conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll leave everyone with this is the best example I can give you is the worst example. Look at a crackhead. Nothing stops them from getting their fix. Nothing stops them from panhandling, robbing somebody. None of that. What is your excuse to
pure determination?
Do quite the
crackhead or hedge fund investor? Which
They're
one?
the same. They're the same.
It's an addiction either way.
Addiction.
Can I plug something real quick, Ed?
Very powerful.
Of course, man. Of course.
Okay. I just want to say that I have a show tomorrow at Flappers.
Oh shit! That's
Virtually,
right. Hold on.
Online at 7:30. And I have my discount code on my flyer.
Uncle Clyde?
Flappers.
Was it virtual
discount
code? The discount code
tomorrow.
The discount code. I'll give it to you right now, real quick.
You on
right.
Yes, I'm on the virtual Yoo-hoo room.
I'm just asking. My friend Joanna Gosselin is on Uncle Clyde's tomorrow.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not on Uncle Clyde's. I don't know.
Shoot. Okay, I already bought a ticket.
My apologies.
What time, Steph?
It starts at 7:30.
7:30.
Starts at 7:30, and then my discount code is HTTP // what is it? FLC.cc/3RIMRUL.
You realize you just did that the same way Biden shared a link in the beginning of his text, blah 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 to 3131.
Blah 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 3131.
All right, there's a link obviously to it. I'll paste it in the comments. That way everyone knows about it. But let me make shameless promotion again. Let me put it up on the screen. Stephen Bowman Flappers.
Yeah, go watch him.
Is that how you spell you?
You go watch him, and then you watch all of us on Thursdays. Ed will probably be there too. He tends to comment.
Yes, absolutely. I'm a big fan, and I turn on notifications. That's all.
We got to get you. We got to get you back on there too.
Oh, absolutely. Get me on there, and well, I look forward to that one because your guys' podcast is just monstrous. I like it.
We're trying.
Yeah, it's like it's getting the attention of my house. I'm like, what are you listening to? I'm just like, just listen. Don't worry. Thank you again, all of you. Thank you again. I'm very grateful for you. And on that note, check out Stephen Bowman tomorrow. Flappers 7:30. Therapy of the Absurd Thursdays 8 p.m. Facebook, YouTube. We got some whatever Periscope, pirate VPN,
Twitch,
all that.
Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope.
Yeah,
just Google it. You'll find a lot of shit. Like we Google that,
and anywhere audio podcast can be found.
Absolutely. All right. Thank all of you, and good night.